hello and a very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheth. Thank you so much for logging in and wishing all the women out there a very happy Women's Day. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, angel investment tech platform Let's Venture has launched a Women Angel Network. The platform aims to provide access to women angel investors to invest in early and growth stage startups. Now, Let's Venture aims to onboard at least 100 women angel investors in 2021, and in addition, will also be launching at least 5 lead syndicates run by women. Well, moving on, a retail tech startup Shopee has raised seed funding from US-based Campanile Investments and Delhi-based investment firm Radcliffe Capital. Now, the startup will be using this capital to generate and accelerate its scale platform and to come up with newer products. Well, reports suggest that hospitality giant Oyo's valuation has crossed the $9 billion mark after the company's recent fundraise from Hindustan Media Ventures. Now, this funding round was reported in January this year, and this growth in valuation comes after it dropped to $8 billion last year from $10 billion in end of 2019. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, blockchain-based supply chain startup CoinEarth has raised $1.8 million in a pre-Series A funding round. Now, this funding round was led by Your Nest Venture Capital. CoinEarth will be using this capital to fund product development as well as for market expansion. Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who has been with Uber. I have with me Mr. Pawan Vaish. Thank you very much for joining us today on this Women's Day special. I want to begin by asking you first about Uber, about the kind of journey Uber has had over 2020, considering that we were in the middle of a pandemic and there has been a lot of disruptions in the overall marketplace. So from Uber's perspective, how has the journey been so far?
I think it's been an interesting 2020. That's probably the word that best encapsulates the experience. So as you know, the country went into lockdown. So our service completely shut down in line with what the state-wise and central guidance was. But what we did, Priya, was in that time, we came up with some very innovative services. We found that doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals were finding it very difficult to go from their homes to the hospitals and back. So we worked with the government and came up with a service called Uber Medic, which was able to take these people, even though there was a lockdown, right? We got special permissions. Then we found that people who were on long-term, healthcare needs, for example, dialysis, etc., chemo, they needed to go to the hospital in spite of the lockdown, and the government was obviously supportive. So we came up with another product called Uber Essentials, where we would geofence these permitted locations and people could use an Uber, even during lockdown, to go for what was absolutely essential work. Then suddenly what we found was that food was not getting delivered as easily as we would have expected, because obviously all these online grocery companies, etc., were quite challenged on their supply chain. The demand suddenly went up. And so we came up with a delivery product and we partnered with companies like Big Basket, Flipkart Grocery, Spencer's, and we assisted them. So I think it was a moment of great innovation during obviously a time of a lot of challenge because our driver partners weren't earning. What we also then went and did was we ourselves committed about 25 crores in funds, and then we raised external funds also. And over 100,000 partners benefited from direct deposits into their accounts because during this time they weren't driving. So we wanted to support their families. So that is, all the stuff that we did. We did a lot around safety, right? So you would see we pioneered safety screens. So over 140,000 autos and roughly 50,000 cars now have safety screens in them. As far as the business is concerned, I think very pleased to share that once the lockdown stopped, right, the recovery has continued to improve. And the fastest recovering products are what we call our low-cost product portfolio, which is two-wheelers and three-wheelers, Uber Auto and Uber Moto, right? And Uber Auto in many cities has actually exceeded the pre-COVID number. So now it is actually on a growth path. So that is what is going on. And week to week, we are seeing improvement, earnings improve for our driver partners. And that is very important. At the end of the day, our driver partners are what make up Uber. And so we are very optimistic because of the recovery trends that we see as cities continue to get back to business, so to speak.
So you do expect that low cost products will do much better considering the kind of trends that you've seen in the last couple of months. Do you think that's the way forward for Uber in 21?
So we always, even pre-pandemic, expected low cost products to be an important growth engine for us. And that continues to be the case. But what I would say is that the recovery is front loaded with the low cost products because as more offices open, then of course, and recreational use goes up, then the car use case will continue to increase. So it is not that you will see growth in this product portfolio at the expense of cars. It's just a matter of timing, in my opinion.
As we speak, there are a lot of riders, and we've been speaking to a lot of people, and they're saying that, is it safe to travel by an Uber or an Ola or any other cab service, considering that you don't know who was this other person who sat in the cab before them. So how would you address those concerns, considering that COVID is such an infectious infection?
So I think very valuable concern. And we found a lot of this maybe in the initial parts of the lockdown, where and then less so now, which is why we landed up putting such a large number of safety screens in our vehicles, right? And we gave 3 million masks to our driver community. We also gave over 200,000 disinfectant sprays and hand sanitizers to them, right? What we have now found is over a period of time that even the science behind transmission through surfaces, they say that is far less. Actually, it is other factors which are more important. So masking is very, very important, right? And that is something that we have built into the core Uber technology. And you'll be very pleased because we have to look at the safety of both the riders as well as the driver partners. So not only do driver partners get checked every day, whether they are masked or not, but if we find reports that riders are not masking and there are ongoing infractions, then we also do a selfie check for the riders, whether they are wearing a mask or not, right? So I think all these steps that we are taking have made people very, very comfortable. So now it is a question of whether they have decided to, go back and whether, where they're working, whether that's opened up, etc.
Considering it's Women's Day, there are a lot of initiatives that Uber has also taken for women riders. If you could run us through some of the interesting new initiatives that Uber has come up with.
Absolutely. So women's safety is at the very core of everything that we do. It is very, very important to us, right? And our view is that women's safety, not just on the platform, but a company which is like Uber can actually influence it even off platform, right? And we can do our bit. So we committed $5 million as a part of an initiative called Driving Change, right? This is globally, we have committed this. And as a part of this, one of the initiatives that we undertook, starting in 2018, we partnered with the Manas Foundation to do gender sensitization training. This is for our driver partners, so that our driver partners become agents of change and they understand what are the challenges that women face, whether it is our riders, women riders, or whether it is family members, right? Maybe in their homes, as an example. So we covered 63,000 driver partners till the lockdown, right? And we used to do these trainings. And when the lockdown happened, obviously we had to pause these trainings. And I'm very pleased that just today we are, launching a virtual version of the gender sensitization training. And our target is that by December of 2021, this year, we would have covered 100,000 driver partners, right? So we did a pilot of this in Delhi and in Hyderabad. And the feedback from driver partners was fantastic. It was very engaging. We did it over Zoom, right? We have 2 facilitators in each session. And driver partners are very participative, right? So we're going to be taking this now from the 7 cities where we started out to 34 cities, right? So significant expansion. And we are very, very optimistic that this is going to continue to yield the excellent results that the first in-person training did.
Talking specifically about driver partners, give us an indication of how many women driver partners does Uber really have, and if yes, then what is there scope where you see an increasing number of women coming out and being, sort of signing up to be driver partners?
No, that's a element which is very core to my heart. I sponsor a program called Bhavishya, and within that, actually, we like to focus on bringing women and differently abled partners onto the Uber platform. And compared to just the sheer scale of Uber in India, the number of women partners is not that many. But we see a phenomenal opportunity. Very recently, we onboarded 18 women partners in Hyderabad in a collaboration with the government there. So whether it is cars, whether it is three-wheelers, two-wheelers, we would be very, very excited to continue to onboarding them. We are very supportive of that. They make some of our best driver partners, right? Excellent feedback. So we are very, very encouraged. But that will continue. We still have far less than we'd like.
There are some cab services that operate only for women. Are you going to launch Uber Women Fleets, considering that from the safety perspective also, if there are late night drives or late night rides, that would be preferable to several women who are traveling out there?
At our scale, when we operate, you need a fairly large number of women drivers to be able to have a service which is reliable, right? So I think till the number of women drivers who actually opt for this as a profession increase or this as a calling increase, that is hard to do unless it's something very, very niche just at the airport. So no immediate plans to do a only women driver service.
All right. On that note, many thanks for joining us today. It's been really a pleasure speaking with you, and good luck with your ride on Uber in 2021. Thank you so much for being a part of Daily Dispatch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priya. Real pleasure.
Well, time now to say goodbye. Many thanks for joining us on this special edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.